Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Project Football. For one of my favourite sort of videos, it has to be said, I do love my tier list. That's right, it's a tier list for the Championship 21-2022 season prediction video. So it could get a bit tasty. I'm joined by, as always, Brandon. How are you, mate?
Mate, you're right.
Good, good. And then we're joined by the legendary goal hanger, Adam himself. Obviously, you might know him from the Goal Hanger podcast if
Right.
you come over from that. But how are you, Adam?
I'm all right. I'm all right. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm decent. I'm decent. I'm just happy we're making content, and I love myself a tier list. I won't lie. But yeah, so obviously, like I said, championship predictions can't beat it. Everyone loves a good championship prediction video. But let's get straight into it, lads. I'll get the tier list up. There we are. Can you all see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, let's go straight into it then. We'll start off with Sheffield United. Adam, I'll go over to you first for this one. How are you feeling about Slavisa Jukanovic's first season at Sheffield United?
I've got to put this out there. I haven't really read into everybody's transfers, but I'm saying 7th to 12th.
7th
big
to
shout.
12th. That is a big
I
shout.
don't think they make it. I think a lot of people are saying, yeah, they'll be going straight back up. I don't believe that. No.
That's a shout. Jukanovic is a promotion-winning manager.
He's a solid manager, but I feel like with Sheffield United squad, it was very much. I forgot his name. Oh my god. Who's the
Chris
Sheffield
Wilder.
United?
Chris
Wilder,
yeah.
that was it. I think it's just very much his squad. I don't think it will function under Jukanovic.
I think that's fair reasoning, to be fair. Brandon?
Yeah, 7th to 12th, mate.
Really?
All day long.
Oh,
I just think the squad was outperforming itself under Wilder. That's genuinely
agree.
just it. I think if you give him a full season of windows to work with the squad and get his own players in, I think they can push playoffs next year. But 7th to 12th, no.
My point was always how many of them Sheffield players would get in somebody else's team in the bottom end of the Premier League.
Well, they'd all get into ours at the minute.
Oh, yeah. They'd get into ours.
Yeah,
but I don't feel like they'd get into many of the top teams in the Championship. That's just my personal opinion.
No, there's some big shouts there. I mean, personally, I'd have gone 3rd to 6th, and I'd have probably had them finish 5th or 6th, to be honest, if they make the right signings. So personally, I'd put them there. But since you both kind of in favour with each other, I'll back your opinions. But personally, I think they will get playoffs, but I can't see them going up. I think they'll make some decent signings, but they probably will lose some players like Sander Berge and whatnot. But we'll see anyway. We'll see. But big one to kick off with that. West Bromwich Albion, thoughts? I'll go over to Brandon first.
I think they'll finish in the top 2, mate.
Oh, interesting. So
a couple of big early shouts. I just think their squad's so good.
Yeah, that's true.
And the manager as well. Weren't in the Championship long last year, but what he did with that Barnsley squad and got them into the playoffs was brilliant. So I just think, probably a bit over the hype, but I think with that squad, he can do bits with it, and there's still more to come from it as well. So yeah I'm back in top 2.
I completely agree.
I think he could. There is the possibility of a one-hit wonder. I mean, personally, myself, I was going to have them 3rd, so in the 3rd to 6th category, because I don't know whether Ismail has quite got the experience for a top 2 season yet, but he does have a much better squad than he did at Barnsley, that's for sure. So there's no reason why he couldn't get it. But no, we'll see. Adam, what about you, mate?
I think I've got to agree 1st, 2nd. I look at West Brom's team and squad, and I think it's oozing Premier League quality. And Ismail Assar, I agree. I do think he might be a bit of a one-hit wonder, just like David Wagner sort of was with Huddersfield. But I think with West Brom's quality, they can easily finish in the top 2. So I'd agree with Brandon there.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I suppose moving on to another big team is Fulham. What are our thoughts on Fulham? Who wants it first?
Can you remind me who their manager is?
Just about to ask that.
It's Marco Silva.
Oh, it is, isn't it? Of course it is. That might change it a bit.
Quality appointment, by the way. Like, top tier for this level.
I think 3rd to 6th.
Yeah, I'm agreeing.
I think they'll have a good start, but I think, what tends to happen with Marco Silva is he tails off a bit towards the end.
Yeah.
I've got another team in mind which I think could push top 2. So it might, to be honest, I might change it. But for now, I'm going to say 3rd to 6th.
Yeah, I'll back that, to be honest. I think they will get that third place, to be honest, at third place or fourth place. But yeah, no, what about you, Adam?
I agree, third, sixth. I think, don't get me wrong, Fulham have got some quality players for this division, but I don't think the days of Fulham constantly hanging around the top two are coming back. I think third, sixth, and they'll be struggling against some of the sides in the division.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'd have Fulham definitely up in there with the manager they've got now, and they've still got, a quality squad from last season. So yeah, there's no reason why they couldn't if they can hang on to some of the players they have, that's for sure. Moving on to the next team, Cardiff. See, I fancy Cardiff this year for a possible playoff push. I think they're slight dark horses. So I'd probably have them either seventh or in that third to sixth tier. What about you, Brandon?
Tough one for me to call. I don't know. um, I like the idea of them having a bit more of a push because last year they were quite inconsistent, weren't they? But
Yeah.
I think a seventh to 12th, maybe pushing towards the playoffs, but I think a seventh to 12th because I just think the manager can get the best out of that squad, but do they have enough quality players in comparison to the teams that are going to be in and around the top six as well? I don't think they do. So I'm going to say 7th to 12th.
Yeah, I think that's fair. What about you, Adam?
To be fair, I think so far Blackburn have done a bit, not Blackburn, Cardiff, sorry, have done a decent bit of business through Glatzel and James Collins. So I agree 7th to 12th, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were 6th or finish 6th. I think they'll definitely be around there. Got
Yeah,
a decent team.
I think that's fair. I think we can all agree to probably put them in that 7th to 12th category. Moving on, Millwall. I think
7th to
Millwall's an
12th.
interesting one,
Very
because
decent business.
they're one. I feel like they're one like star striker away, and that could be Benicophobe, one of their latest signings, but I don't think it will be. I feel like they're one star striker away, maybe a playmaker from being a solid playoff team. So that I do think they are probably in that 7th to 12th, like you said, Adam. But do you want to elaborate on that? Or are you locking that in?
They've got some very tidy signings, but I think they'll be inconsistent. I think the way Millwall play will mean they'll struggle against some of the sides that are in the bottom half of the division who match them. So I'd say 7th to 12th. Like you said, there's still a couple of absolutely amazing signs away, which could Millwall have that in the locker? I'm not so sure. So 7th to 12th for me personally.
Yeah, I think Millwall's problem is they don't really have the funds for that sort of push, but they do have a good squad, and that's from just general good business. And Rowett has quite an inconsistent record throughout any of his seasons. So no, I back that. What about you, Brandon?
I'm also going to back 7th to 12th at the minute. Yeah, I like the signing of Daniel Ballard. I think that's a massive kind of addition to them. And then George Savile's just come back as well, from Middlesbrough. Yeah, they've even got George Evans as well. I just think, yeah, like you said, I think their problem last season was he missed a bit of firepower at times. So even with signing Benicophobe, don't know how convinced I am because I know he's had his off the pitch issues over the last few years and his injuries as well. But I'm not fully convinced of him at the minute. But it can turn out to be really good. But yeah, I'm fancying for a bit of inconsistency. So probably towards the lower end of that 7th to 12th bracket. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I reckon Millwall could be in that bracket. I think it really does depend what sort of Benicophobe you get for the season, though. That really does depend on it massively. Moving on, Swansea City. Where are we fancying Swansea then, lads? I'll start with you, Adam.
They've obviously lost some huge players. There's a Mark Gahey. I don't know how to say his name.
Yeah,
Right? He's going to
it's
Palace
Mark
or
Gahey.
yeah. So it's a difficult one. Cooper's definitely going to make them push for it, but I think they'll have an off season this season and finish 13th to 18th. I think they'll be inconsistent. Hasn't IU left as well?
Yeah, IU's left.
Yeah, I think
Expiration of his
13th to
contract.
18th. I think they're going to struggle. It's going to be one of those seasons where they drop off massively. So 13th to 18th for me.
Right then, Brandon. So
Um,
what do you think about Swansea?
I don't know. I'm just been looking at their squad just now, and well, for starters, it'd be interesting to see what happens with the manager, whether he gets bribed away by a bigger move. I don't think he's going to, because I think it would have happened already by now. Because
Yeah.
we're pretty much fully into preseason now, so I think he's going to stay. But the squad, especially with AU going, lacking firepower. It's lacking as much quality in midfield. I feel like there's just areas across the whole pitch that are lacking,
It's
and
lacking a direction.
I don't think they're going to get playoffs again. So I'm kind of jingling between the 7th to 12th and 13th to 18th bracket.
John, I'm feeling 13th to 18th, you know.
I'm feeling it, but I just don't. It's Steve Cooper. I just feel like the squad is probably a 13th to 18th squad, but the manager pushes them up to 7th to 12th for me, but the lower end of it. So like I'm gonna say like 7th to 12th, but bang mid-table. But if you two both go 13th to 18th, I can understand.
I've got a feeling Steve Cooper won't be there by the end of the season. He'll have left for someone else.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me, to be honest.
Swansea need a rebuild.
Yeah, 100%. Joe, I'll back it for now. I'm going to go 7th to 12th for now, but wouldn't surprise me if later on we bump them down a bit. Right, so Blackburn Rovers, an interesting prospect, not done much business at all yet. Obviously had a good start to last season. Then back end of last season, it kind of all collapsed under Mowbray. And it's not really looked any better since. So, you know, I can't envision things going well for Blackburn next season. You know, I think Mowbray will leave and they will bring in a new manager probably like halfway through the season. But who that is, I don't know. And if they lose Adam Armstrong as well to Southampton, it will be a massive blow. So for me personally, I could see Blackburn 100% in that 13th to 18th bracket or even 19th. I'll go to you first, Brandon. What are you thinking for Blackburn?
Yeah, I'm thinking 19th to 24th, mate. I'm going to be completely honest. They've not got Harvey Elliott anymore. They're going to lose Adam Armstrong, let's face it. There's some Asian players in there as well. They've lost Bradley Johnson as well, I think it's left.
Yep.
Brereton might even go. I just think they're lacking those. And if they want to improve the squad, I don't know where the funds are coming from. And the manager, they scored a lot of goals last season, but they weren't convincing in, game management and stuff like that, and just grinding out points. So for me, 19th to 24th all day long.
Yeah, I back that. I could see them finishing 19th, to be honest. That's definitely my shout. What about you, Adam? What do you think of Blackburn?
I'm going to say 13th to 18th because I was just having a quick look at the other clubs that are down there. I think that it's a tough one because with the mentioning the players that have left, yeah, I think I have to agree 19th and 24th. I feel like it's wrong to put on there because of like the players that they had last season. But
Obviously, Bradley Dack returning as well.
Yeah, Tony Mowbray doesn't inspire confidence in me, unfortunately, for Blackburn. So 19th, 24, their squad's looking a little bit bleak, and you've got to ask the question, where's the quality coming from?
For now, yeah, I think for now we'll keep them in there, but you never know, we might bump them up later. We shall see. Moving on, Bristol City, interesting project over there at the moment. They released pretty much their whole team and actually re-signed 2 or 3 back. And then they've obviously made some decent little frees here and there. I think the addition of Matty James is really good business. And then they've obviously also brought in Andy King as well. You know, Nigel Pearson reuniting with some of his former Leicester players. But I think their biggest acquisition so far has to be Rob Atkinson from Oxford. That will really, solidify them at the back. They keep making signings like that, then they will, massively improve on last season because their overall finish back end of last season was really poor because they just completely dipped off. I feel like Semenyo could definitely come into his own next season. So for me, they're like bottom of 13th to 18th, like they're like that 16th, 17th region. But Pearson is a good manager, and if he can really change his squad around, then they can push higher than that. But right now, with the squad they have, that is where they are. but I do think that could easily change with some more decent business. But Pearson has literally just said yesterday that they won't be making any more signings until they've had a few more outgoings. So clearly the finance isn't amazing at the moment. So I feel like mid-table is definitely the direction Bristol are heading in. But would it surprise me if they had some shock relegation? No, not at all. I'll move to you first, Adam.
Shock relegation. Are you all right? I'm not going to get relegated.
Well, they might, but if they perform the way they did back end of last season, they were heading for it.
Yeah, I agree.
If that dip had come earlier, then
there's a mentality at Bristol City that needs to be changed, because whenever they went for the playoffs, they didn't have the bottle to fully go for it. So I'm going to say 13th to 18th.
Yep, I'm
but
back.
Will Pearson be there at the end of the season? I'm not sure. That's just because of when Nigel Pearson was at Derby County, he couldn't get us going. And I see the sort of same at Bristol City. I don't think he can get Bristol City going, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Probably was a bit of a one-hit wonder at Leicester or something, I suppose. Who knows? I'll move on to you then, Brandon. Obviously, actually, in fairness, Pearson did do well at Watford, and I think they would have stayed up if they didn't sack him. But yeah, anyway, over to you, Brandon. What are your thoughts on Bristol?
I'm taking on Adam's point there about the manager. I know he's kind of well renowned for probably would have kept Watford up and the great escape at Leicester, but I feel like his career is kind of depreciating now to the point where this Bristol team can get relegated from this league. Like, they just can. That's not to say that they will, but they just can. And I think you need a manager in there that's going to be able to grind out that relegation fight and grind out results. And that's what he did at Watford. But in terms of him being like the manager you look for to promotion like before, no, not the guy anymore for me. Not that guy.
You're not that guy.
You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. So I'm going to back 13th to 18th, because I also think the squad's not that great. I'm going to be honest. I don't think it's not that great. They could turn us over 5-0 next year in both home and away, and I look like a fool. But I'm just not that convinced by him. I think the manager might be able to. I'm even favouring 19th to 24th. I don't know. Stick them in there for now. I might change that come the end.
I was going to say, yeah, I wouldn't. I'd happily change that later on. It just depends how this goes. So, interesting. I suppose moving on to your favourite team now, lads. Nottingham Forest. We're taking bias. We're doing a Benjamin Bloom. Leave your bias at the door, and let's get right into this. So, Forest. I will start with you, Adam. What are you feeling? What you're feeling?
They've definitely got an underrated squad. And definitely, no, I'm not going to say an underrated manager, but definitely 3rd, 6th is a possibility if you can get them playing. Obviously, the story is that Chris Hughton always gets the team to the playoffs in his 2nd season after he's done the rebuilding job in his 1st season. But I just don't think it's going to happen. Not being biased, I just can't see it happening.
I can't
personally.
see it either.
I can't see the form coming from. I don't see where form comes from. So I'm going to say 7th to 12th, but I think they'll be flirting between 13th and 18th. If I'm being honest, I think it'll be an underperforming season.
No, I back that. Brandon, what about you?
I'm like Adam, back in 7th to 12th. It's so annoying because I'm looking at all the teams at the bottom end. There's quite a few I actually want to put in there, but you can obviously only put a few in there. You can only put 6 in, can't you? So, yeah, I'm going to put them there because I feel like the squad still needs a bit of a boost from somewhere. A recognised goal scorer, I think, a few bit more quality in midfield and at the back. And the keeper's obviously fine. But I think the manager can get this squad in a better place than what they were last year, especially with a full season there. So yeah, I don't think playoff because I think there's teams above them, but I'd back 7th to 12th at the minute. It's so annoying. There's so many teams I want to put in 7th to 12th. Ah.
Exactly. Yeah, I know it's a frustrating one. I think at the end of the day, it's still early predictions, like we said, early days. But if Forest make the right signings, I feel like there is every chance Houghton gets them into the playoff picture. But it is just about the signings. But I think the biggest thing for Forest this season was actually more about outgoings than ingoings, because they just had far too many players. They keep making like 1 trillion transfers every window. It's a mess, and they have no chemistry, and that needs to change. And I feel like Houghton will change that. But on this occasion, obviously, like people say, he's the second season wonder in a way. I actually think you'll need 2 more seasons, this season and another, to see Forest into that top 6.
He won't be given 2 more seasons.
I don't think they will.
Well, not many people are given a chance at Forest in general, are they? So I don't. If he doesn't do it this season, he'll probably get the sack. So yeah, no. For now, 7th to 12th, definitely. Now, this next team's an interesting prospect. It could either go that way or that way. I don't feel like there's an in between. They've made some decent signings. They really look like they were kind of building into a decent team at the back end of last season. They kind of performed better against the top team, but were poor against the sides they should beat. And, that seems to be QPR's problem. And I know a lot of people are actually fancying them for playoffs, but I'm still not convinced, even though they have made some good signings. And it's Warburton, to be honest, that doesn't convince me. I know he's done it before with Brentford in his first season in the Championship.
Yeah, he was a one-hit wonder with Brentford.
Exactly. I feel like that was a fluke for me personally. But here we are. I'll go over to you first, Brandon. What are your thoughts on QPR?
Yeah, kind of. I'm literally just echoing what you're saying, but
I'm going to go 13th to 18th, by the way.
I'm kind of favouring 13th to 18th as well. There's a squad there that's, when they're on form, I think it will just be a kind of repeat of last season. There'll be areas of form and areas of like dips. I'm not having any of Matt Sky Blues putting them in the playoffs. I'm not having it. I just don't think a squad like that, which is so confidence based, can just put together that much of a string of results. I just don't think they can. I don't think they've got the quality to do it either. Half decent side, don't get me wrong, and they've got decent signings, but produce it across a 46 game season, I just don't think they will. So I'm favouring 13th to 18th.
Yeah, I think that's fair. What about you, Adam?
I think I've got to agree with 13th to 18th. I thought they'd get relegated at the start of last season because I was looking at the squad and I was going, there's not a lot of quality in there. I remember saying to you, Tom, there wasn't a lot of quality in there. So I think they're going down. But they completely surprised me with how they played. And Charlie Austin back at QPR is definitely a recognised goal scorer and can hit 10 plus goals, 15 plus goals. I still believe that's in him. So definitely 13th to 18th. I'm leaving that last 7th to 12th spot for someone else because I can't think who.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we can reorder these at the end when we've got them all in. But yeah, no, I do agree. I do think they're in that category, and now it'd be interesting to see what they do. But I don't agree with quite a few people that seem to be fancying them for playoffs. I mean, don't get me wrong, this will probably come and bite me back on the arse when they actually go and do it. But I can't see it personally. I don't know where the hype is coming from, in my opinion. Anyway, moving on. Stoke City. Thoughts, Adam?
It's a difficult one because they've lost some big players such as Collins, Ryan Woods, Liam Lindsay, and whatnot. But Ben Wilmot's coming a very solid player. But I'm still not. Stoke, for me, I believe they will push playoffs one of these seasons, but it's definitely not this one coming.
It's good that Campbell's back for them, though. I mean,
it's good that he's
really
back because when he was injured, they struggled like nothing else. But so I'm going to say 13th to 18th because I think they've not got any form in them this season coming.
I'd back that. I'd say they were high end 13th to 18th. Probably swap those over as well. What about you, Brandon?
Yeah, again, I'm back in 13th to 18th. It's there is areas of promise. So things like Campbell coming back will be massive. But 2 areas I want to kind of look at are the strikers, which are all Fletcher, Vokes, and Gregory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I need to speak.
Well, they've got Gregory looks like he's on the way, so.
Gregory, yeah, probably Gregory anyway, which might make room for another striker. But at the minute, it's just them three. Well, he's not actually. No, he's probably not going to be them three, is it? Because he's not in the training camp. But yeah, like players like Campbell, Ince, Jacob Brown, they're good, but I don't see depth in the squad either.
Ince has no form at Stoke.
I think depth is a massive thing that they're lacking. Vrancic is good. I like that. So there's bits of good business, and who else? I'll miss one out as well. Wilmot as well. So there's areas where they've done stuff right, and I think they've got Bursic, who's a keeper on the up. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is squad depth, and I don't think they've got enough of it.
Yeah, I completely back that. And I mean, like we say, it's early days. They might make some more signings until then, but I just can't see Stoke in that sort of top half picture yet. But they've certainly, there's no reason why they can't anyway, but we'll see. Moving on to Preston. For me, I'd actually put them in 19th, 24th. It's a big shout, but right now, they've not made any notable signings. They've got an inexperienced manager. It never managed at first team level before. Just he's always been second in command really. Until back end of last season, that was just kind of his first spell, if you like, and it was very patchy to say the least. There were some decent performances. And then some of what you'd expect of an inexperienced championship manager. So for me, if they don't start signing some half-decent players, I could fully see them in that bottom half picture, but it wouldn't surprise me if they were 13th to 18th, though.
Gotta agree with you. If I'm
Yeah.
being honest, after what you said, and Preston, they've always been associated in the Championship as having a fantastic start to the season and being in the playoffs, to then dropping off when it comes to November, December, and finishing in the bottom half. And looking at the squad, the manager, they've got to be careful because League One will come back and then they'll get trapped into the relegation battle for sure. But I think they'll be safe, but I think they'll be definitely in around there.
Yeah, I can't see their manager lasting the full season personally, but I'm happy to be shut up. So yeah, we'll see. What about you, Brandon?
Yeah, I'd probably argue 30th to 18th, but I'm just looking at the squad here. There is a few issues in there. There's some good points, some good players, but there is issues as well. I don't think they'll be playing with relegation. I don't know. I'd be interested to see what Ben says, but I don't think they'll be that low. But if you two put them there, then it's 2 against 1. But I'd put them in 30th to 18th. But you never know when you go on a bad run in the Championship, which they're more than capable of doing with the lack of a striker. I think is massive, but they have got good signings as well. Who've done it at this level for a while now, and players like Whiteman who have come in who are just going to make a massive difference. I think they'll finish 13th to 18th, to be honest. But I guess if it's 2 against 1, then.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It wouldn't surprise me if they finished 13th to 18th. We might still put them up there, to be fair, with some of the teams who got left to go. But I tell you what, we might have to bump some of those 7th to 12th up, looking at the teams who got remaining. So we'll see. We'll mess around with it in a bit. But let's get on to the next one. Right then, lads. So Bournemouth. Interesting one. Probably going to be one of the top teams, but will they be in that top 2? That's the big question. I'll start with you, Brandon.
Yes, they will be in the top 2, Tom.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that's fair. I'd back it. But would you put them above West Brom? Who's first and who's second?
I think West Brom are first. But Bournemouth could, Bournemouth could. I like the signings they've made, I like the signings. I like the manager. It's got Fulham out of this division. The only thing that probably lacks, which doesn't make them go above West Brom, is the lack a little bit of depth up top and a little bit of depth in defence. But look, they've got a 20-plus goal striker. They've got exciting players out wide. They've just signed Mark Condes. They've made other signings as well, and they're really impressive. I think this is a capable team of getting top 2, because I think what was holding them back last year was the manager or the managers. But I think with Parker, I think he's had a bit more experience now. Woodgate and I don't even know the other Tyndall, a little bit less experience, but I think Parker's been in the game long enough now, and I think he can get enough out of this squad going forward to push the top two.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I actually really do back Bournemouth. Wouldn't surprise me if they finish first. I think Parker's still learning, but he's already shown that he's got top qualities to be a good manager at this level. And it'll be interesting to see what he can bring to Bournemouth. And they've made some good additions already. So I'm excited to see what Bournemouth can bring this season, but they should be up there for sure. Adam, what about you, mate?
Got to agree. I think second place, the squad that they've got some very exciting players. I was calling out for Parker to leave Fulham because if he wants to build a career in management, he has to move away from Fulham and do it somewhere else. And Bournemouth is the perfect place for him to get another promotion under his belt. But I know some Bournemouth fans were complaining about the former players last season, such as Brooks, but when you've got Jonathan Woodgate as manager, I'm not really surprised. I don't rate him at all in the Championship, Jonathan Woodgate. And I think that was partly down to the reason they didn't get promoted last season. So this season, I think they've got it in them. They're going to go straight up to the Premier League through the autos. Yeah, I agree.
100%, completely agree. Moving on to probably another bit of a dark horse is Middlesbrough, Neil Warnock's Middlesbrough. What are our thoughts, lads? I'll start with you, Adam.
From what I've looked, they've done some tidy business. Nothing unreal, but they've done some tidy business in places. So
do you think they sneak into the playoffs above any of those 7th to 12th teams there?
No. I'm looking at Cardiff and Sheffield United and also Millwall. I think have a little bit more about them, but I do think they're in the 7th to 12th category.
Okay, so if I put them in there,
then we'll have a little.
Brandon, do you agree, or are you feeling playoffs?
No, I don't think we'll get playoffs either. I'm feeling the opposite.
Wow.
I'm feeling 13th to 18th. Yeah, I'm just looking at the squad now, and I'll be honest. Look, strikers, they've got Ikpeazu. Yeah, he did well. He did well at Wickham last year, but has he? Look, there's nothing showing that he's going to be the talisman who's going to take Borough into next year. Don't get me wrong, he's the most capable striker, but they've also lost Fletcher and Sommerlonger, right? So
Sommerlonger hadn't been performing there for a while.
Yeah, fair enough. But in terms of other strikers, Akpom, who I think is going as well, and Mendez-Lang's all right, but he's mainly a wide player. So that's mainly. I mean, there's players on kind of like the youth players there. I don't know much about them, but that's that. Midfielders, there's not many that I'm really convinced by. Harrison's getting old now. Johnson, a bit old for this level now. I think Wing's could be a good player for them coming off a decent season with Borough. And then Tavernier's a good young player, but he's 23 now, actually going into this year, I think, isn't he? So I think they can be solid and not concede goals, but I just don't think they've got enough goals in them to even push mid-table. Honestly, don't.
Yeah,
but the manager makes a difference. Don't get me wrong, and this is before the season starts. So after signings, maybe they could push to mid-table. But for me, I don't think they're there.
I think that's fair. Probably I'll move them down actually because I am feeling it, but I do think come the start of the season, they will have made transfers that make them more of a 7th to 12th team, but we'll see. But for now, with the squad they have right at this current second, I will back that because that's what it's about. 13th to 18th, 100%. Moving on to Huddersfield. I think a lot of people are tipping Huddersfield for relegation, and I'm quite behind that myself, to be honest. Which could see, I mean, if I'm personally saying 19th to 24th, which could see Blackburn or Preston pushed up in this tier list. So yeah, I just don't think, I really feel like it's all going to come tumbling down for Carlos Corberal this season. And, the additions they're making they seem very random. They don't seem smart. I think the only thing that looks good about Huddersfield this season is their kit. So, it is what it is. But I feel like Huddersfield has been they've been knocking on the door for relegation for a little while now, since coming down from the Prem. And also, even before they went up to the Prem, obviously they had that one season under Wagner, but before that, they were tempting with it. So, no, I can see them in that 19th to 24th category. Will they get relegated, though? I don't know. That's the only thing. So I'll move to you first, Adam. What are you thinking?
I completely agree. I think they're definitely in that 19th to 24th category. It's just a side that it's got nothing inspiring me in it. If Huddersfield were playing on TV, I'd look at the other team that they're playing because just
100%.
unfortunately, Huddersfield, I've been worried as well.
Huddersfield's Huddersfield.
Yeah, them Premier League years definitely saved them from an early relegation to League One, which is really weird to say that a club going up to the top division got saved from going to the third division. But just Huddersfield, they're looking more and more like a League One club as the years go on. So 19th to 24th, unfortunately, just no investment or no smart signings.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's fair. What about you, Brandon?
I'm definitely feeling 19th to 24th. I haven't actually seen their kit yet, but in terms of other things that are good about Huddersfield, I like the ground and Lewis O'Brien. That's about what's good about Huddersfield, literally altogether, which, it's more than Derby, to be fair. But yeah, I'm definitely not convinced by the manager at this point. They had so many drubbings last year and just poor game management and just tactics, and I'm just not feeling him at all. I get that he's trying to impose his style, which for a team which has got more investment and got better players would probably work, but it's not what Huddersfield need right now, I don't think. Some of the signings that they've made, like Matty Pearson, for me, just kind of sums up where they're going. So they've gone from kind of wanting to play out from the back to signing defenders, which is kind of no nonsense, which I think could help them avoid relegation. Yeah. So for me, I'd keep them in that bracket, but I think they'll avoid relegation, probably but down to players like that, down to players that they're a bit more not really his style. They might save him, but that could.
Yeah, Josh Karoma's a good player as well.
They've got half decent players in the ranks. Don't get me wrong. I'm just the manager and the way he wants to play. I don't think it suits his Huddersfield squad at all. Well.
But the thing is, they've signed 2 right backs already as well. So
good right backs.
They're good right backs, but Pippa was their best player last season. So what does that say for him? The rumours of him potentially leaving, I wonder if that'll go through. But judging from their signings, it could.
I'm not convinced by Schofield either, to be honest. I don't know if they've signed another keeper, but for me, they're toying with relegation. They'll be very lucky to stay up.
100%. Now, this next team, I think, will get playoffs if they make the right additions. It's a tough. I feel like it's a tough one. It's another one of those that you could say 7th to 12th, or even if they flop next season, they could be in that 13th to 18th. But we need to start putting teams in those playoffs. So I am going to put Reading in there because obviously they just missed out last season. But I don't think they've made the right additions yet. But if they do, then they are a playoff squad. So I suppose going on the basis that I'm not convinced by their squad yet, I probably would put them in that 7th to 12th category. But I do think they could make playoffs. What about you, Brandon?
Yeah, I'm feeling playoffs for me. I'm feeling playoffs. There's still areas of the squad that need replacement. So, for example, Elise leaving, but they've still got Ajaria and they've got Mate and they've got Zhao still. So, and Josh Laurent, they've got good players. So I think, look, a few additions and they're definitely going to get top 6. They bottled it last year, but I feel like they've removed a bit more of the deadwood. And I think so players like a Luco and Baldock and so on. And I feel like they're going to bring in players. Admittedly, they haven't been made now. And that analogy kind of goes against what I was saying about Middlesbrough. But for me, I think they are going to get in the top 6.
Yep, I think that's fair. What about you, Adam?
I've got to agree. I would say probably Sheffield and Birmingham are going to join them in the playoffs if I was to consider the playoffs early on. But yeah, I've got to agree. Reading have got some decent players. They swept us away first game of last season. So yeah, and they swept us away in the game at their place. So yeah, I've got to agree there.
Yeah, true. No, I think that's fair. I suppose moving on to Barnsley, playoffs last season, they've lost their best player and their best manager for years. So I mean, how do you replace that? Is the big question. Do I think they'll get playoffs again? No. Do I think they're looking at 13th to 18th? Yes.
Yeah.
So that's me personally. I don't know about you guys. I'll start with you, Brandon.
Yeah, losing your best player, your manager. I love how you're already putting him in 13th to 18th. Losing the best player, the manager. They're still going to lose players as well. By the way, they're going to lose Hellick. They're going to lose Styles.
And they've lost what's it as well?
DK.
DK, yeah.
It's not. It just won't. There won't be. There will definitely be nothing like last season. If they get decent money for players like Styles and Hellick, maybe they could push into 7th and 12th, depending on the management and the replacements that they get. But I just don't think they will. I don't think they will. I'd love them to prove me wrong because I love a dark horse. Well, I don't think they push playoffs, but you love a bit of an underdog in there. But yeah, for me, I'm not even feeling the mid-table slot. So yeah, 13th to 18th.
100%. I back that. What about you, Adam?
I don't think anything more needs to be said, really.
Okay, fair enough. We'll take that then. Moving on to Luton. I've seen a lot of people backing them as a dark horse for playoffs. I'm not personally. They've only signed Mendes Gomez and there might be one other, but
should have signed Tom Ince on a permanent.
Yeah, they've actually let go more of players than they've brought in so far. So for me, I don't see that as dark horse behaviour. If you're asking me personally, especially letting go of Collins to Cardiff, that their goal scorer. So obviously, they signed Lansbury and Jerome as well. Jerome is past it. Let's be honest, he is past his best years. Lansbury hasn't shown anything since Forest. He didn't show anything at Villa. He didn't show anything at Bristol, and probably won't show anything at Luton either. So for me personally, they are in that 13th to 18th category, or maybe bottom of 7th to 12th. But yeah, I go 13th to 18th personally. What about you, Adam?
I think I've got to agree. I'm looking at some of the other teams and just wondering where I'm going to fit them. But yeah, definitely 13th to 18th.
We'll have a muddle around.
I don't. Yeah, just Luton. They're just going to be a mid-table team at the end of the day. That's all I need to say, really.
100%. What about you, Brandon?
Yeah, I'm thinking mid-table as well. I just don't know between 7th to 12th and 13th to 18th, to be honest. Signings dependent can push them up, but you can put them in 13th to 18th for now. But we are going to have to move teams up. I was just going to say, the fact that we've only got 2 teams in the playoffs now, the amount of teams we've got in mid-table, considering the teams we've got left as well, it just says how open this season might be.
Well, we all said it at the start of the end of last season when we saw who was going to be involved in this upcoming season. We all said how open it was going to be, 100%. Because this could be one of the most topsy-turvy, entertaining championship seasons for a long time. It has the potential. So no, it's exciting. And to be honest, if you want to push one up now, I'd be happy to push up probably Stoke or QPR into that 7th to 12th. To be honest.
We'll leave it for now. We'll leave it for now, but we'll do it. We will.
And then moving on next to my team Blues. I think there's a real good sort of vibe around Blues at the moment. Since we got rid of CEO Dong Ren, who was causing all the problems at the club, and now we've got Craig Gardner as our technical director. And for the first time in probably club history, we're actually making some smart early signings. We've already made 6 signings. Possibly could get Dion Sanderson on loan as well, which would be our 7th signing. And, we're still mid-July, which is crazy, really, that we've done that sort of business so earlier on so they can get a proper pre-season under them, under Bowyer. Obviously, Tahith Chong, huge signing. I couldn't believe it that we signed someone like that. But, he does need this season to be the one for him. Otherwise, he won't make it at United. So, big pressure on his shoulders, but he isn't training with the squad until the end of the month because he's finishing training with Manchester United. So a bit of an odd one, but it is what it is. There'll be reasons behind it. But no, there's definitely a feel-good factor at Blues. And if Bowyer can replicate the form we had back end of last season to keep us up, considering that we beat 4 of the top 6 when everyone said we looked dead and buried, was unbelievable. So I do believe if we can bring that form into this season, it could be a really good season. So for now, I'm saying 7th to 12th. I'll go to you, Brandon.
I just fully agree with you, mate. Smart signings, a manager that from the back end of last season has proved that he can get you out of a tough situation. I don't think any kind of drop in form will be an issue. Like, I don't think it'll be like where you lose a few games. Basically, what happened to us, where you lose a few games and all of a sudden there's no confidence left. I don't think that'll be a problem. I just don't think it will. I think you've got a good mix of personalities in there. You've just got smart signs. I'm actually really jealous, to be honest. But yeah, I'd fully back 7th to 12th.
What about you, Adam?
I think it's 3rd to 6th. I think definitely in the playoffs. I don't see any other team that's in a better position off the pitch than Birmingham City probably at the minute. And the signs are good enough to go and play in that 3rd, 6th. So if you don't get playoffs, then I'd personally be disappointed because I don't see another team in that division.
Well, I suppose we do need to, because looking at the teams we've got left, none of them are making into the playoffs. So we'll just sort out the playoff picture quite quickly.
Birmingham and Sheffield in the playoffs.
Brandon, if you had to pick
Sheffield
two. Yeah, I think Sheffield definitely getting there.
And I'd probably, for me, it's between Cardiff and Forest.
I was going to say Cardiff and Forest.
Birmingham in there. It's clear. Cardiff are clearly inconsistent. Birmingham were good at the end of last season, and the players that they've got. Forest, it's Forest. I mean,
it could be Birmingham. It could be Birmingham, but I haven't seen it. That the 3 months or whatever, however long Bowie was even there. I don't.
Birmingham will get to the playoff final.
For me, that 3 months isn't enough for me to just say that they'll get in the playoffs, but they could.
It just screams Derby County. It just screams that to me in the past. Not this season.
Whoever can put a decent run together, that's what it'll come down to. Out of those 5 teams there in since 12, whoever can put a good run together, I think will be there.
I think for now, I'd actually back Forest to take that 6th place.
No. We can't be having this.
Okay, right.
Birmingham.
We're just going to take Adam. We're just going to go with what Adam said. Why not? Just I don't know. I see with Cardiff, Mick McCarthy's so inconsistent. We saw that at Ipswich. You know, he really did flirt with the playoffs a lot, but would miss out quite often. And flirted with the playoffs last season with Cardiff, and they'll lose to teams that they shouldn't lose to. So it is probably Cardiff or Blues. Probably will be Cardiff, but I'm just going to back Adam because I'm a Blues fan and I didn't leave my bias at the door. I'm sorry, Benjamin. But it is what it is. Would you say Sheffield United above Reading or Fulham, or leave them there?
I think Reading finish. Yeah, I'd leave it as that. Yeah, Sheffield there. Yeah, that's what I'd say.
I think that's fair. Brandon?
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like Cardiff will make it rather than
no.
I don't think they will. To be honest, looking at the Cardiff team, I don't know if they need firepower, man. I don't know. You know what? I just don't know. You lads do whatever. I don't care anymore. I don't know.
We'll go with that. We'll go with that for now. Right, Derby County.
Bottom.
Yeah, there we go.
Nothing needs to be said.
I don't think any disagreements can be made, to be honest. Do you want to go in more depth about that, or do you just
no?
Okay. Well, there we are. Coventry City.
13th to 18th.
Yeah. Can we push Luton up one, do you think?
We could do, yeah. I mean, personally, I'd have probably pushed Stoke or QPR up.
Okay.
I'd have personally pushed Borough up, so none of us are in agreement.
Oh, God. Okay.
To be fair, I'm missing out some of the loan players Luton had as well. Like I really like look at Dewsbury Hall.
Dewsbury Hall's gone, yeah. They've lost a lot of players.
They've lost Matty Pearson as well. They've kept Sonny Bradley on, luckily, but
yeah. So I say we just appease all of those QPR playoff.
Go on then. Go on
then. Put on there.
Might as well. So Coventry, 13th to 18th. Oh shit, didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, move us up.
I back that, to be fair. What about you, Brandon? What are you saying for Cov?
Yeah, I'd back that all day long.
Fair enough. Peterborough, Blackpool, and Hull, the 3 newly promoted sides.
They're all 19th to 24th.
Yeah, maybe Hull, maybe, but I'd fancy if any of them were to push up to 13th to 18th. I think it would probably be Preston. over
We've
Hull.
got too many
Yeah.
clubs at 19 to 24.
We do, yeah. I was about to say, like,
I think
Hull are the only team down there that I would push up.
No, I think Preston. I fancy Preston. Well, it depends on signings, I suppose. But
yeah,
I'd
I'm
say
saying Hull.
I'd say Preston or Hull, and then out of the 13th to 18th to push up one, probably Borough or Luton.
I back Borough. Okay. Preston, I'd be fine to put them up. So I think we have it there, lads. We just need to rearrange this kind of area here, the 13th, 18th, and 19th, 24th. So who's
You're
your
wrong
bottom
with
three?
Preston. You're wrong with Preston. No, we're a playoff side. I think we should switch to the playoffs. We should be aiming for playoffs.
Of course. So, I mean, I'm happy to put Derby bottom, but lads, what do you think about that?
I think Blackpool will finish bottom.
You're lying to yourself. I'm not
lying to myself.
Accept the truth.
I back that. It depends on the severity of your points deduction if you get one.
Doesn't even matter. I don't think we're. I don't understand where wins come from being honest. No, maybe I'm being too negative.
I think you're being a bit harsh.
I'm being too negative. At the end of the day, it's relegation. Whether we finish bottom or what.
Out of all those other teams, who do you think goes down with Derby and Blackpool?
Huddersfield.
Do you know what? Looking at that bottom bit, I don't see why Derby couldn't stay up. In comparison to the other teams, the quality that we've got, bearing in mind it's a couple of players.
You could stay up. It just depends on your points deduction.
You change your tune quick.
No, I've always said playoffs.
I'd probably have. In fact,
we've gone through. We've looked at Huddersfield. Blimey, they're in trouble in my opinion. Blackburn, we've got more quality than them, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong. We've got like 6, I would say, players that could go into other teams.
That's if you sign those trialists, though.
Oh yeah. If we sign those trialists, then I'm going in my head. If we sign those trialists, players like Tom Lawrence, Nathan Byrne, Jason Knight on his day, Louis Sibley's got a quality left foot. Yeah, don't see why not. Put us in playoffs. Go on, shift us up to play. We're having a playoff push.
Brandon, do you think you'll finish 23rd or 22nd?
Saying 6th, mate.
I don't want to think about it because either way it's like just depression. So
put us in 6th. Come on, we had a transitional season last year. We'll go up.
Transitional season.
I think the only transition that's been made is me from being affected badly by Derby's results to me just being accepting of it. That's the only transition that's been made here.
You go from a championship to a League One club.
Oh God.
I say we finish 3rd bottom, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, just leave us there.
If we get a point,
I'll leave you there. Actually, I'd back you to beat Huddersfield, depending on the points deduction. To be honest,
we're going down either way. Let's face it.
I don't think we're getting a points deduction, if I'm being honest, but I do think we're going down.
Based off this, we're getting relegated when we finish 22nd or 23rd. So just put us out of our misery.
There you go. I'm giving you some joy. Right, I'm happy to lock in that lot. What about 13th to 18th? Any changes you make there, boys?
I don't think anyone cares.
No.
13 to 18. That's really harsh of me, but
yeah.
I think Coventry could be pushed down.
To be honest, I wouldn't change much.
I think Bristol City, I feel like they've got a bit about them. I don't know why. I'm not inspired by Pearson. If they had a different manager, I think they'd be much higher. But
I think it's fair to leave them in a format like this because it means that we don't know where they're going to finish, but we know they're going to be within that region. I think it's fair. I think it's fair just to leave it like that.
Okay, then, lads, are we locking it in?
I'm looking at him.
There we are, sorted. So that is our early championship predictions. Come closer to the season, that might change when there's been a few more signings, but we'll definitely do a comparison. Anyway, either way, thank you for joining us. If you have, please drop a like on the video. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one, lads.
See you later, guys.
See ya.